Hey everybody, I'm Ted from Tebex. In this tutorial we are going to take a look at the EssentialsX core plugin for Minecraft. As it says here, the core functionality has teleports, private messages, homes, warps, and even more. There are also three main systems implemented into EssentialsX core. This is the economy system. They call it a rather simple implementation of a currency-based economy system, but I think the features out of the box are actually quite powerful. As you can see, there are quite a few commands associated with the economy system, and there are quite a few configuration options available. There's also a complete kits system. This can be anything ranging from stacks of simple items, or as it says here, you can even have unique items with enchantments and special lore. Again, quite a bit of configuration options available, some of them even necessary depending on what you're trying to achieve. Something that is very interesting in combination with Tebex is that Essentials also supports permission-based kits. For example, we can create a kit that is only claimable when you have a specific permission. You could then set up a group that has a permission, probably among other permissions assigned to it, and then use Tebex to move a player to that group. Or, depending on your situation, you might just want to use Tebex to assign it directly to the player, allowing that player to then claim that kit. There's also a sign system built in. There are many different signs you can configure. Depending on the type of sign, something else will happen when the player interacts with that sign. Now, when booting up the server, you can see a lot of information, but the main things we are interested in is what kind of plugins are running. We have lock perms, we have Vault, and we have messages from Essentials. When looking at our plugins folder, you can see that those three files are over here. Don't forget to also install Vault. It is required for everything to work properly with EssentialsX and Lockperms. Most of the things inside of EssentialsX are behind a permission. So a big part of understanding how to work with EssentialsX is how to work with permissions so you can allow players or groups to use certain commands. I want to focus as much as possible on the features inside of EssentialsX and not turn this into a Lockperms tutorial. I will run through the lockperm setup once, and then we'll keep the lockperms information to a minimal. In this tutorial, we will demonstrate some of the features inside of EssentialsX and how we can use them and what it will look like when a player interacts with those features. We will then take a look at how we can set up a group with a permission so we can automatically send them through Tebex to that group. You can see when logging in, we immediately get the message saying that we have no new mail. This is a built-in EssentialsX feature. Since I am operator, I can run any commands. For example, I can change the time to night. This is not something built into EssentialsX. This is something built into Minecraft. Let's make it day first. If I try to do, for example, /fly, since I'm operator, it will just allow me to use that command. So now, just like in creative, I can just fly around using that command. Let's first of all take a look at some of the features listed on the homepage. The first thing mentioned is teleports. So let's just go to the commands and search for teleport. Here we can find all the different commands and even the full syntax for that command with a little description if you're unsure what command does what. Let's take a look at the homes example because that is also one of the other features listed. For me to be able to teleport to my home, I first need to set a home location. So let's search for home. Here we can find all the commands attached to the home feature. What we are looking for is set home. This will set a home to our current location. So what we do is /set home, then the player, and then the name. This is optional and this is required. What we could do as a admin is set a home for a different player. If you are just trying to set a home as a player yourself, you should just do /set home and then the name of the home. Since I want to test this myself, I'm going to ignore the player part. So if I do set home 1, it says home set to current location. So if I now go somewhere else, even though over here everything looks a little bit the same, I can now do /home. It will give me a few options. Let's select home 1, the one we just created. And then when pressing enter, we get teleported back to our home location as expected. Now, if we wanted to delete this home, I think we can do yes /delete home. Then again, choose the home we just created, and this will allow us to remove the home. Because we are operator, it will just override all the permissions that are set. So let's take a look at private messages. Again, gonna go to commands. So if you're unsure what to search for, I'm just gonna search for private. Here I see command MSG for message. So I'm going to just search for message. And here I see several message commands. And the one that we are looking for is send a private message to a specific player. So what we need to do is /message, then to who, and then what the message is. So let's try to send a message to ourselves. So I'm going to do /message. I'm going to select myself, Tebex Academy, and I'm going to say hello world. We can see now that the message is sent and also me receiving the message. And again, if we want to look at the permissions, we can just again search for message or MSG, and we would find all the different permissions attached to this feature. I will demonstrate how to use these permissions in a little bit. Let's lastly take a look at warps. So again, let's search for warp, not wart. Let's search for warp. And again, we can do set warp, delete warp, and find all the relevant information. It's a very well documented plugin. So let's set a warp and also use this. So let's do set warp top tree. And this is now set as top tree 1. And now, for example, let's go a little bit somewhere else over here. I know it's going to be even difficult to see where what warp is, but maybe we should have done a warp somewhere else. Wait, let's put a warp here. This is going to be a lot better of a demonstration. So let's do set warp cobble for cobblestone. And now if we go a little bit somewhere else and we do /warps, we can see the different warps available. And if I have access to them, I can do /warp and then just choose where I want to be teleported to. So let's, for example, select the top tree 1, and I can just teleport to that location. Let's arrow up and select the other tree. And yes, as expected, that doesn't really show much. So let's use the cobble one as well. And as you can see, it teleports us exactly to that location. Let's look at how we can use Tebex to offer this to our players. For this to work, we need to set up permissions. If you need more help with lock perms and how to set up permissions, please take a look at the video description. I will link to some of our lock perms tutorials going way more in depth into lock perms. So let's first of all open up the lock perms editor and click on the link. We then have to copy this command and paste this in game using a operator account. So let's paste that in game, press enter, and now it is successfully connected. So we can just alt tab back to our web browser. We can then find our groups. So let's create a new group. I'm just going to call it new, leave everything default. And then we're going to attach the permission that we want to this group. So let's first of all search for economy. We can see here command eco. These are the two permissions attached to the economy system. So I'm going to click over here and copy this to my clipboard. Go back to the editor and then search for that permission over here. If we click on it, we add it to our permissions. We can then set the value, and optionally when this expires, we can also set a different context. I will leave this default for now. Let's click add to add it to our group. And let's also apply to actually push these changes to our server. Since we are operator, we also get some information inside of the chat that these changes are applied. Then what we need to do is go to users, go to Tebex Academy, and then add ourselves to that new group that we just created. And again, apply these changes to the server. So even if I deoperate myself, I should now be able to use that eco command because I have the proper permissions since I am in that new group. So in game, I'm going to deoperate myself. And now I'm no longer operator. So I am still in creative. So that's not too bad. I was about to say I cannot fly, but I can fly. I am still in creative. If I try to, for example, again, change the time, I'm not able to because I am not operator anymore. But if I do /eco, as you can see, I am still allowed to use this command because I have the proper permission. So if we now want to offer this to any of our players, all we need to do is be able to add them to that group automatically. We just used the lockperms editor to add ourselves to the group. We need to do this using a command because Tebex cannot click on those buttons. But of course, Tebex can run commands for us. So let's first of all make ourselves operator again. And then let's figure out what command to use. I already know what command to use. We're going to use lp user Tebex Academy parent add, and then what group we want to add them to. We can then copy this command, and if we run this, we see that it already is the group that we want. So now all we need to do is go to Tebex, go to our packages, when creating a new package or when editing a package, we can go to the bottom, and as you can see, we can see the commands over here. And this is exactly the command that we want. It's on just a different group. But these are some other examples of commands that you could run. Of course, you can run any command through Tebex that you can run as an administrator. So all we would have to do is change VIP to new, and this will automatically add the player to the group once a package has been claimed or purchased. EssentialsX Core is really powerful by itself and has a lot of different things to configure. Way too much for me to show in this overview. If you would like us to dive into something specific inside of EssentialsX Core, or dive more into one of the modules, please leave a comment down below. But I hope this explains and shows how you can use EssentialsX and some of the powerful features that are built in. Then, once you have everything configured, use Tebex to either assign the permissions directly, or in this case, creating a group and then using Tebex to move and also optionally remove players from that group. I hope this was helpful. If anything is unclear, feel free to leave a comment down below. And as always, thank you for watching and good luck with your Tebex store.